Okay, I know you want to succeed at a higher level, make more money, have more fulfillment, be happier in your relationships, and I'm going to give you the two most important variables that will literally guarantee your success, happiness, and abundance in 2025 and beyond. Watch this. So number one is attitude. Number two is effort. Attitude, effort. So let's talk about it, okay? This is probably something you've heard before. I'm not going to suggest to you that you haven't heard, oh, I got to have a great attitude in order to succeed. But I'm actually going to break down for you some of the elements of attitude or how to help you have a better attitude if you're struggling. Number two is we're going to talk about effort, but I'm going to talk to you about it in a way that I think might inspire you and empower you in ways that maybe you are not perhaps achieving that level of effort that's going to guarantee your success. So let's talk attitude. Okay, so there's essentially three parts of attitude that are going to make a difference for you. And when I talk about attitude, what do you think I'm talking about? I talk about this a lot with the agents that I coach, the owners and entrepreneurs that I coach, and it's really an orientation to the world. Right? It's how you orient to the world. It's how you see the world. It's the lens and the filter through which you see the world. And I remember a mentor of mine once told me, change the way you look at the world and the world you look at changes. And that was a very powerful statement for me. And look, I get it. We're not all born with Mr. or Mrs. Optimistic attitude. We're not all born with everything's going to work out great for me, because guess what? Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes on the journey to grow and become, we get blindsided, we get punched in the face. Sometimes for some of us, when we're children, we're not necessarily surrounded with positive, affirming environments, and so we take on that negative orientation. We develop a very strong inner critic, and now our attitude is affected. And regardless of that, okay, regardless of what's happened to you, regardless of what you've been through, that is in your past. Now, I'm not here to give anybody any psychoanalysis. If you feel that therapy is a useful thing for you, I strongly encourage it. God knows it has saved my life going through therapy to help me kind of work on the things that are deep beneath the surface that I just didn't know were running amok in my life. But the one thing that I can tell you that has made all the difference is a shift in my attitude towards life, towards opportunities, towards challenges, towards other people. And so, like I said, I'm going to give you the three components to attitude that I think can make a huge difference for you. Number one is your self-talk. How you talk to yourself about yourself and others has everything to do with what you're going to create in your life. And so if you believe that thoughts are things, or thoughts become things, and that what you focus on is what you create, then you're already on board with me. And let's talk about the conversation going on in our heads. You're probably having one with yourself right now. You're thinking to yourself, I kind of like this guy, I don't really like this guy. I'm not sure I'm into what he's saying, I kind of dig what he's saying. You're having a conversation with yourself right now. It's what we do as human beings. We're always talking to ourselves, okay? It's called thinking. Right? That is what talking to yourself is. It's called thinking. And of course, some of us think thoughts that maybe we shouldn't be believing. You know, there's a great book that says, don't believe everything you think. And that's because your brain is set up for one thing, biologically set up for one thing, and that is to protect you and keep you safe. It is not set up for you to thrive and aspire and ascend and go after what you want. Your brain is set up biologically to keep you safe. And so it would be natural that your brain will constantly be scanning for what could go wrong. Oh my gosh, what's over there? What's going on over there? This feels threatening. This feels risky. And we start to create this story, this narrative in our minds that doesn't necessarily help us get what we want. It does protect us, but doesn't necessarily help us get what we want. And so what I want to empower you to do, what I want you to consider here is paying very close attention to the thoughts that are going through your head, because that is otherwise the conversation you are having with yourself. And I want you to imagine that you're talking to your best friend. and your best friend is sharing with you some of the challenges or difficulties or whatever it is they might be going through, or just a general conversation about, the world or different aspects of the world, and you are having a healthy dialogue with that friend, what would that dialogue sound like? What kind of tone would you have in the words that were coming out of your mouth for your friend? Now, if you're a complainer, if you like to pile on the negativity, well, then maybe that's the type of conversation you would have with your friend. But how would you feel? What kind of attitude or orientation to the world would that kind of conversation create? Probably not a very good one, probably not a very positive one, probably not a very uplifting one. And so what I want you to think about is you are your own best friend. And the conversation you're having with yourself in your own mind is like you having a conversation with a friend of yours. And you got to ask yourself, what kind of outcome in this conversation do I want to create? Something uplifting, something joyful, something positive, something that's going to guide me in the direction of what I want? Or, of course, the opposite. Now, my suggestion would be, let's go for those positive, uplifting conversations. And so your self-talk, what you say to yourself about yourself and others, is a primary element of shaping your attitude. Okay, number 2 is going to be your focus, what you focus on. Now, again, this may be nothing new for you. I'm simply here to remind you then that creating the attitude you want is simply a sequence of things to focus on. One of them is, what am I focusing on? Okay, so right now I'm here in my office, I'm shooting this video content. It happens to be a beautiful day here in South Florida. I've got a room full of our professionals gathering because we're about to do a great training. And I can focus on how incredibly fortunate I am right now to be sitting here in this office sharing this content with you. I could also be focusing on the things in the world and the things in my life that are not perfect, that are not great. I could be focusing on a whole host of different things that would take my attitude into the toilet, but I'm not doing that. Now, here's where I want you to practice it. And I'm sure maybe you're thinking, oh, easy for you to say, Adam. You live in beautiful South Florida. You've built a world-class company. You've got great people around you. You've got so many good things in your life going. What about if my life sucks? What about if I've got things in my life going on? Or I know I shoot a lot of content here for aspiring professionals, real estate agents, real estate broker owners, and entrepreneurs. And right now, maybe you're struggling. Maybe your business is struggling. Maybe you've got a health situation in your family, or you've got a distressed situation going on in your life. And to that, I say, I'm sorry. Life can be very difficult and challenging, and I can empathize totally with you. And of course, we both know that if you choose to focus on what's wrong and what's bad and what isn't working in your life, you're only going to have a negative orientation and attitude that's going to bring about more of that. And the reality is, if your business is struggling and you have a negative orientation attitude towards it, it's unlikely your business is going to get better with that kind of a focus, with that kind of an attitude. If you're focusing on a negative relationship or an illness, it's unlikely that a negative attitude is going to help that get any better, right? And so I'm not here to put rose-colored lenses on and say, be, Mr. or Mrs. Blue Sky. That's not what I'm saying to you. I'm giving you step by step to ensure that you can lever one of the most important factors, one of 2 most important factors for your success, and that is your attitude. Okay, number 3 in building a great attitude is your physiology, your body. How you use your body will have everything to do with your attitude. And you know this is true, right? Just think about it. If you don't feel good, what's your attitude like? Not so great. Now, that's understandable. Right? Nobody has a great attitude when they feel sick, okay? I'm talking about not just when you're sick or not sick. I'm talking about on an everyday basis. Shoulders up, standing tall, looking straight ahead. You're going to feel better. It's just an actually documented physiologic experiments have been done. The data shows that when you physiologically use your body in a more powerful state, you feel better. It's why when you go to the gym, endorphins, dopamine, all the things that start flowing through our bodies, we feel really good. The converse is true, right? If you're slumped over, not really so excited, kind of walking around with your shoulders down, you're not going to have a very good attitude towards life. okay? So maybe right now you just need to sit up a little taller in your chair. Maybe you need to get your head straight ahead. Maybe you need to get a little skip in your step. Maybe you need to do some stretching, get out of your chair, walk around, do some power walking. I don't care. Whatever it is, your body and your mind are connected, okay? I mean, not just because your brain is here and your body's part of your body. I'm talking about the psychosomatic connection of brain and body, that when you use your body in a powerful way, when you build strength, when you exercise, your brain says, hell yeah, thank you. I'm going to have a much better day today. You know I'm right. So, attitude, self-talk, what you focus on, how you use your body. Okay, let's talk about number 2, which is effort. So we both know that when we put in maximum effort, we move further faster and we feel better. We both know that in order to accelerate the learning curve, no matter what you're doing, right? If you're starting something new, or you want to move to another level in your capacity or in whatever it is you're creating in your life, you and I both know that you're not going to get there with half effort. You and I both know that it's going to take a lot longer, it's going to be a lot more painful, and you're probably going to only get halfway, if that, results. Let's talk about the flip side, maximum effort. This is where you say, no matter what, I'm going to put my foot down on the gas pedal and I won't take it off until. I love this saying. Heard a guy named Jesse Itzler, maybe you've heard of him last week, and he has something that he taught his son. I think this was from him. I did see him last week, but I think this was from him, where he said his son says, I get to the end of the day with 0 left in the tank, holds a 0 up, which means 0 left in the tank at the end of the day. That's what I'm talking about. 0 left in the tank. When I get to the end of my life, I want my epitaph to read, all used up. You know what I'm talking about? Like nothing left. I gave everything I had, because then I can look myself in the mirror and feel good about myself, knowing that it was never because of a lack of effort that I didn't succeed. Now, I'm talking about the kind of effort that is not just 100%. Now, mathematically, you can't do more than 100% of anything. So let's just be clear. I hear some people talk about 120. I don't think you can do that, mathematically anyway. But I'm talking about the level at which you are in the red. You are tipping so far over that you get to the end of the day just used up, man. Because then you can look yourself in the mirror. Then you could say, it wasn't because I did less. I'm going to push myself. I'm going to give it every single thing that I have. And I know, and so do you, that when you do that, your chances for succeeding, they don't just, double or triple. They exponentially increase. And then what happens is momentum kicks in, right? You get one day you bust your ass, another day you bust your ass, another day you bust your ass, another day you bust your ass. You're feeling good. You might be a little tired, but you are committed and dedicated and disciplined and given everything you have. And then momentum starts to kick in. It's like, whoa, man, now I got this flywheel going. Now the merry-go-round is just spinning and spinning and spinning. All I got to do is, ding it with my finger to keep that thing going. We all know how hard it is to get going in the beginning, but once it's going, it's much easier to keep it going. And so what I want to encourage you to do here today is, presuming you have something that is worth working that hard for, presuming that maybe you've watched some of my other videos, or you're watching other content or consuming content, or you're just one of those people who's on fire with inspiration and purpose, and you know exactly what you want, you're going after it every single day, I want you to push yourself harder. I want you to put the effort forward so that you can look yourself in the mirror today. When you watch the end of this video, today, you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I gave everything I have. Because I am certain with the right attitude and the right effort, you can achieve anything. All right, watch this video again if you like what I shared. This is going to be really powerful for you. Let's do it.